in the pandemic and the aftermath, we've had many renewed discussions of the important and classic textbook distinction between supply shocks and demand shocks, and in particular, the particular challenges that a supply shock can present to a central bank. And that's also raised a lot of questions in academia and in policy circles as to whether or not the inflation process post-pandemic is going to look quite different than prior. Jay, maybe we can start with you. A number of folks have argued that we are entering a new period where supply shocks will be more frequent. Would love to hear your views on whether you think that's a possibility and what that might mean for central banks.
So it's a great question, and it's one I think we'll be dealing with for quite a long time. And I'd say it's certainly possible that we'll see continued supply shocks. I also think it's just very hard to forecast that with any confidence. As Yogi Berra is thought to have said, Ben, you're the baseball expert. You can confirm or deny this, but it is difficult to make predictions, especially about the future. So I think that the best we can do at this stage is probably to just identify the factors that we think can lead to further negative supply shocks. I will say that, though, that positive supply shocks related to globalization largely probably contributed significantly to the period of low inflation that either ended or was interrupted by the onset of the pandemic. And I'm thinking there of the vast increase in global labor supply, the development of efficient global supply chains, facilitated by technological advances and things like that. And I would say those positive supply shocks do not seem likely to be repeated. At the same time, the drivers of the current inflationary surge certainly included a sequence of large negative supply shocks to the global supply chain for goods, which also experienced a large and persistent shift in demand from services to goods, and also the supply of workers. On top of that, Russia's war against Ukraine brought further shocks to global supply chains, particularly supplies of energy and non-energy commodities. So we can't know how persistent those shocks will be or whether further negative supply shocks will come along. Will globalization be partially or fully halted or reversed? Will it resume again as the pandemic mercifully recedes into memory? We can't really know that now. But for policymakers, the bottom line is that central banks will continue to be responsible for providing price stability, and that will require us to navigate whatever additional supply shocks do occur. So as Tomas and Ben and their co-authors wrote in the inflation targeting book, what a central bank can do is control inflation. And that is true over time, even in the presence of supply shocks, should they come.
Ben, I'd love to hear your views on this.
So unusual events which disrupt normal economic functioning often are followed by inflation. Examples are World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and now the pandemic. And the pandemic just makes it harder for policymakers to understand what's happening and to react appropriately. And in particular, the pandemic scrambled the labor market, made it harder to judge the state of the labor market. The opening led to a very extended rise in commodity prices, which was difficult to deal with. We had supply chain issues, which was pretty much a new thing, which was also a contributor to inflation. So there are many features of the pandemic that made this an unusual episode and a difficult episode to address. That being said, I think that, and I've done some research on this with Olivier Blanchard that we're presenting next week, the basic mechanisms, I think, are still the same. But you have a bunch of bad shocks, that's going to give you a problem. But the underlying mechanisms of supply shocks and tight labor markets and so on are really the same. So I think, I don't think there's been a major change in the underlying process that generates inflation, only a series of shocks related to the pandemic that gave us this episode. Going forward, I agree with Jay that we can't predict, what new shocks will come. We've got new technologies out there that might, make big changes in our economy. We've got, green investment, things like that might affect the price and availability of fossil fuels. And so there are many, many things that we can't predict. But I think that, broadly speaking, that the inflation process has not changed. And it's one aspect of that, which is very good news, is that the Federal Reserve's credibility has helped keep inflation expectations, particularly longer-term inflation expectations, reasonably well anchored, which is always sort of the first step in getting control of inflation.